If you ever wondered what the perfect son-father relationship looks like, then Baki and his beloved father Yujiro are definitely role models. I really loved how this last season Baki and Yujiro bonded through beating each other's asses repeatedly over and over again. How through power of imagination they imagined things better than any schizophrenic patient could. And how Yujiro finally stopped being embarrassed to hold his son's hand or give him piggyback rides in public. It all started 18 years ago when Yujiro, the world's strongest man, didn't have anyone to fight. So he found a married woman, impregnated her, and made her raise his son to be a strong opponent for him. When Baki at age 13 failed to defeat his father, Yujiro was disappointed, and as a punishment sent Baki's mother to meet Jesus. Yujiro only respected the strong, and since Baki was so little and weak, Yujiro made sure to crush his weak son fully and assert dominance like a real dad should. Now at present day this season Baki is 18 years old. Baki wants to have a meal with his beloved father. He tells about it to his father's unpaid servant. Unpaid servant is surprised and says it is not normal. Since the unpaid servant is uneducated and doesn't understand the dynamics of a family, Baki enlightens him that it is actually normal for family members to eat together. Baki also explains how he would like for Yujiro to come over and Yujiro to cook for him like other fathers cook for their sons. When Yujiro hears that Baki wants him to cook a meal, it makes Yujiro really angry since he is no pussy and never cooks for others. But after thinking about it, Yujiro still decides to visit his beloved son. One day, Yujiro visits his beloved son for the first time ever. Baki serves his father some coffee. Yujiro asks if Baki is afraid of him. Baki says that he feels fear, admiration, respect, and detestment. Yujiro, as a considerate father, says that if Baki really detests him, maybe he should let that feeling out and they should fight. Baki sighs and says, "Come on, Dad, you and I are father and son. That's just nuts." To stir up trouble, Yujiro then asks what is wrong with Baki that he would serve his own father such a crappy cup of coffee. Baki senses that shit is about to hit the fan, so, to defuse the situation, he bows down and apologizes. After that, Baki notices that Yujiro actually drank the coffee in 2 gulps and calls out his dad for lying. The coffee was actually good. Then Baki asks Yujiro to make him some coffee instead. Yujiro says that he is no pussy and will only make coffee if Baki forces him to do it. Yujiro also for no reason picks up and breaks Baki's table into 4 pieces using only his fingers. It isn't enough that Baki has to live in this dump of a house that everyone trashed and put graffiti on. Now even his beloved father is destroying his furniture. After this, Yujiro leaves so Baki feels relieved. Different day, Baki prepares a full-course meal for 2 people. Yujiro visits his son again and they share a meal together. Yujiro, like a proper dad, starts educating Baki on what and how to eat. After the meal, Baki takes the courage to ask his dad if he could wash the dishes. Yujiro agrees to wash dishes if Baki can beat him in a game of rock, paper, scissors. When they reveal their hands, Baki has rock while Yujiro has scissors, so Baki wins. But we all know that Yujiro is no sissy and can't embarrass himself by washing the dishes. So he cheats, takes his fingers and breaks Baki's rock. Next day, Yujiro invites Baki for a dinner at a fancy restaurant. Baki shows up in regular clothes, so Yujiro scolds him for being a dumbass son and not knowing the etiquette. Baki says that Yujiro, as his father, failed and never taught him proper dress code, manners, or basically anything. When they eat, Yujiro teaches Baki about cutlery and how to eat properly at a fancy restaurant. It is a great father-son bonding time until Baki asks why Yujiro sent his mother to see Jesus. Yujiro tells Baki to drop the question and that it has nothing to do with him and that Baki is being disrespectful by asking about that. Now Yujiro is known as the strongest man alive, but he clearly isn't known as the smartest one. So Baki has to explain to him that as the son, Baki actually has the right to know why his father sent his mother to see Jesus. To get the answer, Baki puts his hands on Yujiro. Yujiro pushes Baki away and tells him that he's a failure. He also says that if Baki put hands on his own father, then he knows what's coming for him. Baki laughs it off, but Yujiro isn't laughing. This is the moment when the real father-son bonding starts as they start beating each other's asses repeatedly. They do fun father-son activities together like fly through walls, slap each other, pinch cheeks, and jump out of buildings together. These fun activities go on until Baki is on the verge of giving up. To give him the final motivation, Baki's dead grandpa, with the power of imagination, imagines himself back to life. Grandpa says that he is disappointed seeing his son and grandson fighting, so he had to come out of retirement of being dead. He also reveals the secret of how Baki can beat his father. He basically says that Baki can beat Yujiro if Baki wants hard enough. With this newfound life-changing information, Baki is now ready to defeat his father. But before he can do anything, Yujiro decides to teach Baki his grandfather's strongest move, the dress. In this move, Baki's grandpa used to take a full-grown man and use them as nunchucks, spinning the human around in air at crazy speeds. It creates an invisible armor. Supposedly, if you imagine hard enough, it starts to look like a dress. I honestly can't imagine it because I don't have the strong Hanma family schizophrenic level imagination, but maybe you can. Baki is being brutally swung around and repeatedly thrown against the bus. His ears and eyes are basically useless because they fill with bodily fluids. He can't see or hear anything. But even without having any sense of direction, sight, or hearing, Baki decides to take this relaxing moment and make his beloved father a present. After nearly sending his son to Jesus, Yujiro puts Baki down. This is the heartwarming moment when Baki presents his father a little samurai made from junk he just collected. Yujiro says that he doesn't need this shitty doll, but Baki knows his father is just playing around, and is actually heartwarmed by receiving such a nice gift. For being such a great son, Yujiro later even gives Baki a ride on his shoulders. What a great family! It all ends with Yujiro beating Baki's ass. Then Yujiro admits that Baki is strongest in the world even though Baki clearly lost. This was unironically the least toxic thing Yujiro has ever done. Yujiro then even goes a step further and takes the time to cut invisible tofu he imagines and cook an invisible meal for his son. He then serves the meal and has an imaginary conversation with Baki. That was so beautiful. But I swear to God, everyone in this anime is schizophrenic.